Families of the two men who were killed in an airstrike last October are suing the U.S. government. The wrongful death suits are the first to be filed since the Trump administration launched a campaign to target boats off the coast of Venezuela.
To help us better understand this lawsuit, we welcome in our legal expert, Whitney Traylor. This sounds like a really unique case.
Yes, it is very unique.
Yeah.
I think so. As we were just talking about, these are two very rarely used statutes. This is involving maritime law, and so there's the allegations of violations of the Death on High Seas Act, which is a 1920 law that makes the U.S. liable for negligence if it results in a wrongful death case, and then violations of the Alien Tort Statute, which allows foreign citizens to sue over human rights violations when there's no armed conflict or no judicial process. And that's really what a lot of people are complaining about, is that there was no armed conflict, there was nothing by Congress that authorized this, and there was no justification, no judicial process. Like, there was no allegation of wrongdoing, and these folks were just summarily killed.
So set the case for us. Who are the parties, and what are the damages looking for?
Right. So this is interesting. So this is a case involving the families. So these are two Trinidadian citizens. They were essentially fishermen that were on their way back from Venezuela to Trinidad when they were bombed. So it was their family who brought these claims. And so they're looking for restitution. And the complaint, I have the complaint here, is very short with respect to the damages, but they're saying pecuniary damages, compensatory damages, and then punitive damages. So they'll be seeking
a lot of money.
Significant money, because these were the two breadwinners of the family. So if they prevail in these claims, they can go forward and say, well, they were going to make this much money going forward.
In their lifetime.
Right, in their lifetime. So over the next 30 years, they would have made X amount of money.
So these things move along very, very slowly,
yes,
as we know, and sometimes there's an appeal and another appeal. Does this have, do you think, any kind of impact right now on future strikes, or would it even potentially have people pull back a little?
Well, it's a good question, because this administration is notorious for sort of punching first and then letting the litigation resolve as it will. We saw that with the emergency declarations at the border, with the deportations and all this, even though they lost. So here I could see this having an impact, but there's been, since September, there's been at least, 30 strikes. They've killed over 100 different people. So if there's a resolution and the case results in the plaintiffs winning, I could see that changing policy. Right now, with this administration, I don't know if it will necessarily change policy.
Oh, it's one to keep an eye on, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's a hot policy anyways. Congress is looking at it, all sorts of people are. So this just throws one more thing into the mix.
Yes.
Legal aspect of it.
For sure, and Congress, and that's one of the strongest arguments, is that we weren't in war, we weren't being attacked by Venezuela or any other country, and the president did this, and that's really a violation of the Constitution, because Congress has the ability to declare war, and there's certain limitations on the president's actions when there's not any kind of conflict with that country. And so here, that's a real argument. And if it turns out, obviously there's going to be evidence, but if it turns out that these are individual citizens that had nothing, they weren't transporting drugs, they weren't involved in a cartel, that could be significant damages against the U.S.
All right.
Whitney, thank you.